All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another WNBA playoff video. We had two more additional game twos last night, the 17th. That was a Wednesday, so I want to break them down a little bit, talk about what's on the line for next game, who has advanced, and yeah, just hopefully make this a little short video talking about the playoffs. We have another set of games tonight, so we'll talk about that on Friday. But for now, this is what we have. Two more additional games. Let's jump right into it. If you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So let's start off in order, like we always do for the most part. And we're going to start with the Phoenix Mercury versus the New York Liberty. In New York, Phoenix made the trip all the way from Phoenix to New York to play in the Barclays Center. And everybody thought this game was going to go a little differently. People thought the New York crowd, the fandom in New York, was going to go crazy. They did go crazy for about maybe a quarter. And then it kind of dissipated. The huge story around this game was whether Brianna Stewart from a couple nights ago when she sustained her injury was going to play. It was revealed that it was a MCL strain, I believe. Yeah, I think. Let me. It was some sort of knee straining. But I had suspected and I had hoped that maybe she wouldn't play because you are up 1-0 before last night. You're up 1-0. You already got the game you needed. I get you want to close it out at home. You want to get through it, but to spoil some of my deep dive into this game, Brianna Stewart looked terrible. She looked terrible, and she really, from what I had heard and what they said on the broadcast, was she wanted to be out there with her teammates, with her family, so to speak, and really just support them if she could. And I think that's cute. That's fine. That's go down with the ship, so to speak. Just go for it. But when you play this bad and you're hampering the team on offense and defense, and you look like you're in pain the whole game, that doesn't help anybody. And to compound all of that, it's not like you're having a career year, like shooting the ball. 20% or around thereabouts from three. That doesn't get better when you get injured. That in fact gets worse. And the team sucked. The team sucked. No starter was in double digits last night. No starter. That includes Brianna Stewart with 6 points, one block, three turnovers, two rebounds, two assists in 20 minutes. If you're gonna go out there and play just 20 minutes, don't play. Don't suit up. You know, like let somebody else let somebody else try to get the start. You have so much depth on this roster. Like let somebody else get some depth, and that's another thing of the depth of this roster that we'll get to in a second. Leonie Fibich, 2 points, no show, donut from three, donut from field goal. She only made two free throws, and that was it. Jonquel Jones again. I am gonna be hard on Jonquel Jones because she's the Finals MVP from last year, and she has not shown up these first two games. Not shown up at all. I don't care that she has 13 rebounds. Three personal fouls, two turnovers, 7 points. Only made one three. That's not enough. That's not enough in a closeout game where you probably should have won this game at home, and you probably should have picked up the slack for Brianna Stewart um, as the Finals MVP and as somebody who is a really good player when she has it going. Natasha Cloud, 8 points. Asked to do too much. You can't ask Natasha Cloud to do this much, game in and game out. She's a great player. She's an even better defender, but to ask Natasha Cloud to be your number two, I, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think you can ask her to be a number two for like a quarter or two, like closing out a game. Like if Brianna Stewart was having a better game and then she started to like really not feel it in the fourth, you turn to Natasha and be like, hey, we're gonna run some more plays for you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. That didn't happen at all, obviously. Sabrina looked out of sorts, looked tired, looked like she didn't know what she was doing out there, and that's very rare for Sabrina, who is usually more collected, more composed, very emotional throughout the course of the game. But that's to her benefit, and the energy just wasn't there from her last night. 9 points, one steal, one block, one personal foul, one turnover, three assists, four rebounds, one of eight from three. She took some horrendous threes, and sometimes, sometimes you just gotta look yourself in the mirror and say, "Hey, it ain't going in tonight." Um, 3 of 13 overall from field goal. Abysmal. Abysmal for the starters. Abysmal for the starters. And now we get to the bench. And this was a point of contention throughout the latter half of the game where the broadcast was just talking about, you know, what went wrong this game and what the Liberty could do better for the next game. And this was talks on the internet as well on social media where Sonny Mondello of the New York Liberty, the coach, needs to trust the bench more. You have all this bench depth. You have Emma Missman, who didn't have a great game last night, but at least was in double digits with 11 points, had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, no fouls, even though she really didn't play a lot of good defense. Um, did not take a three, did not make a three, and then 4 of 9 from field goal. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I think again, I would have sat Brianna Stewart and be like, "Hey, win, lose, or draw, we have to go back to Phoenix, or you get another day's rest if we can pull out this game without you." And you start Emma Misserman, and you try to get something out of it. We're gonna talk about Phoenix in a minute, but Emma Misserman was the only one who had anything going for any length of time consistently. She probably gave you like 10 minutes combined of her floor time. She had 18 minutes in total, where she actually looked good. The other 8 minutes wasn't good, and she just fell into the hole that this whole team did, where just kind of gave up, and the lead was so insurmountable. And Coach Sandy Brandello was like, "We're not going to leave you guys out there to play game to play. Was it 10 minutes of the fourth quarter? Come sit on the bench. We'll get it in Phoenix, hopefully." Um, but you need to trust this bench a little bit more. I mean, Isabel Harrison needs some looks, like 4 points, two steals, 2 rebounds. Like she's not gonna she's no world beater, but at least she's better than like she's better than she was almost better than Brianna Stewart. She was definitely better than Leonie Fibich. Kennedy Burke needs some burn, 6 points. 3 turnovers isn't great, 2 fouls isn't great, but you need to try something. And in these moments in the playoffs, sometimes you just need to try stuff. Just throw something at the wall. Because if you don't throw something at the wall, you never know. You just don't know. Um, let's see, Marina Johannes. This was the one people were saying needs to get in the game more. Um, did not make a shot. She took three free throws off a foul on a 3 point shot, but she people were saying she needs a look. Um, and yeah, I would agree with all that stuff. I mean, I'm just gonna be again. If you've watched these videos, these how many videos has been three WNBA Plus videos? Yeah, three. If you watch any of these 3 videos, I've been so hard on this Liberty team all year, and I've questioned them all year for good reason. And at times they've shut me up, and at other times I've still had questions. And now we're here, and they're tied going back to Phoenix, and they did win in Phoenix, and that's a huge plus. If you know you can win in an arena, there's no worry about going back into that arena. But Stewie wasn't hurt for that game. For that game, Stewie's hurt now. John Cole Jones hasn't shown up. Is she gonna show up? Um, I think Sabrina's gonna shoot the ball no matter what. It's a matter of is anybody else gonna join her and try to show up? I have no doubts about Sabrina at least attempting to win this series by herself. But you can't win a series by yourself against this Phoenix Mercury team. This Phoenix Mercury team looked great last night. Just to wrap up here for the Liberty shot 23% from three as a team, and they shot 64% from free throw. Those two statistical categories alone, you're in the low percentile of these, you lose that game no matter what. About 90% of the time, you lose those games. But yeah, this Phoenix Mercury team looked really good last night. They looked way better than they did in game one. Game one, they looked slow. They didn't look like they know how to play basketball. I said all the things I said in that video. Um, they looked bad. But this game, they turned it around. They heard the noise. They heard the chatter. They did not want to get swept after having a really, I won't say surprising season, but a really surprisingly sturdy season. And they showed out. And it was because of, is this the big three? Yeah, I guess it's the big three. Yeah, big three. Alyssa Thomas, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 6 rebounds, um, 6 of 13 overall from field goal. Satu Sabali, a much better game. 15 points, 4 steals, 4 assists, 7 rebounds. Took 4 threes, made 2 of them. And Kalia Copper, 14 points, 1 block, 2 rebounds. Um, how the hell did she? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, big three: Satu, Thomas, and Copper. Really good night for the big three. This is what you kind of hope for in these moments. This is what you pay these players for. This is why you go get Satu Sabali. This is why you retain Kalia Copper, get Alyssa Thomas back. Is that you kind of you kind of hope this combination of uh, a guard, a forward, and a big can really bolster your playoff wins. And they stole one. They stole one in New York in the Barclays Center, and I was happily impressed. This was the sort of performance I expected in game one. I think you come out into Brooklyn, into New York, and you have nothing to lose. And they had nothing to lose, and they put their foot on the gas from the jump. I mean, it was a close game in the first quarter. The quarter ended 25 each. And then the second quarter is where they blew the doors off of the Liberty. Um, 26 points in the second quarter. And then it was a slow kind of death for the Liberty. It was the slow realization that, damn, we really can't get anything going. And the Phoenix Mercury had everything going. Other people that pitched in for the Phoenix Mercury: Catherine Westbed, 10 points, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Duana Bonner, 14 points, 8 rebounds, had some really consequential shots that, like, every time the Liberty would kind of sneak back in, Duana Bonner would hit a shot, Satu would hit a shot, Kalia Copper would, like, poke the ball away, and it was just a team game for this Mercury team, and you didn't really need much else. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when I say, like, X person needs to show up for X team. Whenever I'm talking about any series, is that, like, Alyssa Thomas for the Phoenix Mercury can't be the only one that shows up. You need Satu to pitch in, you need Kalia Copper to pitch in, and you win the game by, what is that, 26? Yeah, that's 26 points. That's easy money. That's easy money. It's that simple, you know? And it's somebody like me saying that it's so simple, but, like, I'm only saying it's simple because I've seen some of these players do it before, you know? And if Satu Sabli came out and had a bad game, guess what? She would have got it from me. But she didn't have a bad game. She had a good game. 15 points. So that's pretty much it for this game. This series heading back to Phoenix. What do I predict? I, I hope the game is refereed fairly and not in anybody's favor. If that is indeed the case and is refereed fairly, I would say Phoenix is going to win this game. Was that on Saturday or Sunday? It might be Saturday. It might be Saturday. I don't know. Actually, I could check here. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see when this next game is. This next game is Saturday. Yeah. So they got 1 day's rest. Um, Brianna Stewart's got 1 day rest to maybe get better. Um, and maybe we'll be talking about a Liberty first round exit, and we'll talk about what's next for them after Saturday. That'd be crazy. I'm gonna be. I'm happy with whoever goes to the next round, because whoever goes to the next round is gonna play the Lynx. The Lynx have already won their series. They're the only team to have swept their first round series. I'm happy with whoever matches up with the Lynx, but for the Liberty to go from finals to first round exit would be hilarious. And I do not enjoy the suffering of other teams as much as I do when it's somebody who maybe the last season was a fluke, and maybe you couldn't do it again, and maybe the team isn't built as well as you think it was. And I love when teams get bounced and they either double down and they say, hey, we're going to stick with this team, we're going to stick with this core, or they go make a big change. Um, New York might have to make a big change, but we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that yet. We won't talk about it. We'll save that for Monday. Yeah, because the game will be on Saturday. We'll talk about it on Monday. Yeah. Anyways, like I alluded to, the next series, the Lynx versus the Valkyries. The Lynx headed all the way from Minnesota to San Jose, not San Francisco, because the Valkyries had to move their arena or move their home court advantage down to San Francisco, um, because the Chase Center had prior obligations, so the Valkyries could not use the arena. So they moved it down to San Jose, and man, oh man, was San Jose rocking down there. San Jose was rocking down there, man. But the Lynx prevailed, 75 to the Golden State Valkyries 74. It came down to the last shot for the Valkyries to try to extend their season to go back to Minnesota. They could not do it, however. But this was a valiant effort from this Valkyries team. This Valkyries team had it all this season. They had the good, the bad, the ugly, and you almost had a game-winning shot to advance, not to progress the series into a game three down the stretch with literally like 10 seconds or less left, and you couldn't do it. But you lost to what I'm going to presume now is the champs in the Valkyr in the Lynx, who will go to the finals at least and make another finals appearance. So there's no shame in losing to these guys. Back to back finals appearances, hopefully for the Lynx. And yeah, um, let's talk about the Lynx because it was pretty simple for the Lynx. Well, I shouldn't say that. It wasn't simple for the Lynx, but they made it work. This was a grinded out, dirty win. Um, Blood, sweat, and tears in this game. Um, Nafisa Collier did the thing that I thought Aisha Wilson was going to do in the fourth quarter of the Storm Aces game yesterday. Was that like, oh, she's going to show up in the fourth? Like she's struggling throughout the course of the game, but she's really going to turn it on. She turned it on. Um, Bridget Carlton, 12 points. Kayla McBride, the vet, 18 points. And throughout the course of this game, it was very hard for the Lynx to get in a groove, and they finally got. It took like almost 40 plus minutes for them to get in that groove, but what the Valkyries did to them defensively was so interesting, and I don't think a lot of teams have the facilities to do what the Valkyries did the to the Lynx. But what it was it was smart defense. They would run different schemes. They would again. Did I say this about this team? I might have said this about the team. They ran different defenses. Sometimes they would double Nafisa Collier. Sometimes they would blitz her and then they would sprint back out to the 3 point line. Other times they would really pressure any other ball handler that wasn't Nafisa Collier. They would pressure Courtney Williams. They would pressure Natisha Heidemann. They would pressure Dejanay Carrington. They would pressure all these guards, but they would also pressure the bigs when they had it in that awkward between the three and between the post or between the paint um, level where if you get somebody stuck there and they pick up their dribble, they're just stuck there, and you can really double them and then use the baseline as the third defender and try to push them out of bounds essentially almost, which is very smart. And you also saw a lot of going bucket for bucket and taking advantage of like, okay, the Lynx just scored 5 points, right, to get the lead down to one or whatever the case may be. Um, we go down, we go down, score two, make it a 3 point game, and then the Lynx are coming back down, and we steal the ball again, and now it's back up to a um five. What would that be? 6 point game, 5 point game. You know, it was the smart, intentional, um, hunting of different ball handlers for the Lynx from the Valkyries that kept the Valkyries in this game throughout the course of the game, and I think at was it at halftime? At halftime, I think the Valkyries led. I wish it would tell me here, but yeah, it was just so interesting. It was such an interesting game, and I don't think a lot of teams have the facilities and have the players to do what the Golden State Valkyries did to this Lynx team defensively. But it's an interesting concept where this team really struggled when Nafisa Collier didn't even have it going. Like she would get in her motion, she would get in her progressions, she would get that little post fade, she would get that little turnaround shot. She would try to get to the paint, and you couldn't quite get it. And the rest of the defense sort of suffered from that. Courtney Williams had an abysmal game. They dared Courtney Williams to shoot this whole game, and eventually she did shoot some really good shots and win them the game. 6 points, four turnovers, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, no threes made. They were really pressuring Courtney Williams to make shots, and it worked for about, I'd say, 38 minutes, and then the last couple minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, Courtney Williams found some shots that she liked, and they went in. But I've been vaguely concerned about that this whole season when I've watched Courtney Williams, watched Lafisa Collier, watched Kayla McBride, where I don't particularly like Courtney Williams when she isn't even lukewarm. When she's like cold, cold, like you have to pull her. You have to pull her. And I know she's a key part of this Lynx team, but you just have to pull her. And at times, it would be Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann out there, two smaller defenders, two people who can get in the passing lanes who are decently good on team defense, but as a whole, they can get targeted. They can get put in pick and rolls. They can get put in these awkward situations where they're bringing up the ball, and then they're trying to bring it up so quickly because that's their advantage. They're as smaller players. They do have the speed, but they're running into two people. They're running into a wall essentially, and the Valkyries were doing such a good job at pressuring them to try to make the big play because they were having such a bad game. Um, this is smart. This is very smart. This is high level basketball in which somebody's too prideful to admit that, hey, I'm having a bad game, so I'm just gonna keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, and I'm gonna try to make it a good game for me. And you force them into a bad game. That's the mind games that you have to play with this team, with this Lynx team, because that stuff doesn't affect Nafisa Collier. That shit doesn't affect Kale McBride. It does affect the two other guards you have on this team. And the one big thing I think that helped this Lynx team get back into this game was somebody like Dejanay Carrington, who's the complete opposite of Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann, where she's more composed, she's more aloof in the course of the offense for the Lynx, where she takes her open shots, she drives in the paint sometimes. She is dealing with that shoulder injury, but she had a really good, I think it was like at the end of the third and some of the fourth, where she had some really good minutes, and that's what got him back into the game, along with her defense. And at some point, she had like a calf or like an ankle, like she tweaked something, and they had to pull her from the game. And Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann were the backcourt. And I said, this is gonna go one of two ways. Either Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann are gonna have a great closing half here, closing quarter here, or some stupid shit's gonna happen. And some stupid shit did happen. Natisha Heidemann turned over the ball. Natisha Heidemann um, the ball slipped out of her hand when she was getting doubled, when she probably should have called a timeout. There were just little things that um, almost led the Valkyries to win this game. And I'm talking, I'm talking about so many things about. I'm talking about the Lynx and the Lynx and the Valkyries in a positive and negative light. But that was the course of this game. It was all over the place. Um, the really only stabilizing force was Nafisa Collier. Um, and if she doesn't have this game, we're talking about a game three. Um, And yeah, the positives for the Lynx. This was a good gut punch for them. They almost lost this game to a team that's far, 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 far worse, talent wise. That's far worse, experience wise. And you need to open your eyes a little bit and take this a little more seriously. Um, I did like that Nafisa Kali really took control of the game at the end. Sometimes she can be really nonchalant. Sometimes she can be really like soft. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that's her personality. Like she's too like, oh, I'm just going through the motions. I know I'm a great player. Da 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 da. She doesn't have that killer in her, or at least not throughout the course of the game. When it starts to get to crunch time, she does have that killer in her. But you don't want to get to crunch time. You shouldn't. There shouldn't have been a crunch time against this Valkyries team. Now, did the faithful in San Jose help them? Hell yes. That arena was crazy. Um, the Golden State Valkyries are gonna have great home games for like the next 10 years. It's gonna be amazing to watch. Amazing to see how well they do. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I do want to talk about the Valkyries a little bit. I kind of mixed the Valkyries and the Lynx together a little bit, but I do want to give some love to a couple players here. Veronica Burton, 13 points, um, 1 block, 4 steals, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 of 6 from three, hit some big shots. And what I failed to mention is that why the Valkyries were leading in this game and why this game was so hard for the Lynx to come back in is one of the better comebacks in WNBA history. Is that this Valkyries team was draining threes. They were just putting them up and they were going in left corner, right corner, top of the key, the hash marks, like kicking it out. It was crazy. So when I read some of these stat lines, you're gonna see like a lot of players took a lot of threes. They didn't make a lot of them at some point, but when they did make them, it was all in the first half essentially. Again, Veronica Burton, 13 points, 3 of 6 from three. Xander Lassini, 14 points, 4 turnovers, not great. Um, 3 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 of 4 from three. Um, Salon, pardon me, 14 points, 4 rebounds, no turnovers, 2 of 4 from three. Rupert, 8 points, 2 of 4 from three. Um, who else is here? Um, Damn, I felt like they played a lot more players, but they only played a couple people off the bench. 16 points off the bench for Malik Billings, who was really big. And like I had alluded to, um, it came down to the last shot. I don't particularly like a lot of the after timeouts, the ATOs that are run in the WNBA because I feel like there are only one of two options. There's the three, the mid range, and I don't see a lot of teams go for the layup in an ATO in the WNBA. It's a three or a two. Well, by a two, I mean like a mid range jumper or a floater. And there is no fourth option to like lob it up at the end of a game, because they don't dunk in the WNBA. At least a lot of the majority of the players don't dunk. Um, Where was I going with this? Oh, the last shot. That's right. There was some talk that the after timeout, the ATO was sort of bad. I thought it was good. I thought she got a lot of good um, space on it. I think maybe you sort of lean into the defender and go for a floater and make the refs call it. That's the only way you could have made the shot better, but it is what it is. I think down the stretch, the Valkyries just finally ran out of that magic. That made this season for them so magical. And their head coach, Natalie Nasake, um, coach of the year, they had what was it? Was it was it Veronica Burton? Yeah, it's Veronica Burton. Um, Most improved. It was a great year for them. Now we're gonna switch gears and talk about what's next for the Valkyries. I think what's next for the Valkyries is bringing in um, some real front court help. And when I say front court help, I mean like a true center and somebody that popped into my mind the other night. And I don't know how it would get done. This is just like a crazy idea, but I would really try and go get Tina Charles from the Connecticut Sun. I don't know why, but Tina Charles not on this team kind of sounds fire to me. And I don't know if she'd want to play in Golden State. I mean, like by what I mean is like she picked um Connecticut in the off season, so she wants to be in Connecticut. Is my point for Tina Charles, but I like that. I think that's a good center, a good forward that you could play on this team, and she'd fit sort of well with this team. Um, Off the top of my head, I really can't think of anybody else who I would really like. Um, I'd have to look at it. I didn't even think about this to be honest. It's going to be this is 2026 season, so 2026. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. WNBA free agents. Let's see here. Okay. I legit didn't even think about who's a free agent this year. And who they could add. Ooh, okay. So we have this part of the show is brought to you by Spot Track or Spotrack, one of my favorite websites to look at contracts and everything like that and transactions. Let's see here. Who else is here? Oh boy. Is a free agent? That's this year, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, 2026 is the right year I'm thinking of, right? Yeah. This is yeah. Okay, yeah. Just making sure. Okay, so some notable free agents. Jackie Young. I don't think you need another guard, but Jackie Young would be interesting because Coach Natalie coached Jackie as an assistant coach in Las Vegas, so that would be an interesting tie. I don't think Kelsey Mitchell is going anywhere. Um, Kalia Copper. I don't think Kalia Copper is going anywhere. Jewel Lloyd, maybe. I do not want to see Enrique Ogunbowale on this Valkyries team. That would kill the offense. Enrique can be a black hole sometimes. Gabby Williams is interesting. Um, Natasha Howard, sort of interesting as well. I don't think she's a needle mover though. And I don't think the Valkyries need to take a big leap next year. I think they either just need to replicate what they did this season and be a little bit higher of a seed, but I genuinely don't think they're finals ready quite yet. But that being said, I'm just thinking about what they got freaking ads popping up and what the hell? Get the hell out of here. Um, I think they just need to take another baby step. Who else is here? Skylar Diggins, maybe. Marina Mayberry, maybe. That she's not a needle mover though. Kayla McBride, I don't think Kayla McBride's doing that. Um, I don't see a lot of names that are gonna move. NECA would be a huge step. I think she really likes it in Seattle though. If you could convince NECA to come, that would be incredible. That's an incredible pull actually. I don't think she's gonna leave though. Um, yeah. Damn, there are a lot of free agents. A lot of free agents. Uh, Let me see. I'm just looking through this list real quick. I'm not seeing a lot of names. I'm not seeing a lot of names that could be needle movers in free agency. Uh, eh, yeah, no. So like, yeah, for me, it's right now it'd probably be Tina Charles, who you'd have to trade for, or it would have to be um, NECA. NECA would be a good one too. Let me. Yeah, okay, good. It would have to be NECA or Tina Charles, somebody like that, like a good vet, but somebody who's not going to change the offense too much. Because I really do like what they did offensively this year. It is going to have to evolve at some point because that's the nature of basketball, and you go from a young, exciting team that has all the speed and has all this to you. Sometimes you have to slow down the pace, get through your plays, get through your progressions and all that. But I. I don't think you need to change the offense quite yet. I think you should try to bring in somebody who complements the offense, who's a really good player, who's been in this league a long time, and if you can do that and then retain some of the youth as well, that'd be perfect for this Valkyries team. So, yes, again, the Mercury force a game three and they head back home to Phoenix. And the Lynx beat the Valkyries by 1 point to be the only sweep in the first round. They will be waiting for the winner of New York and Phoenix. Again, I'd be happy with whoever, but it'd be kind of funny to see New York go out in the first round. But I wouldn't be surprised if they make it. They're a competent team. Were they competent last night? No. Is that a foreshadowing of things to come on Saturday? Maybe. But that's it for that half of the bracket. We have a lot of game threes on the right side of the bracket. You have Seattle versus the Aces. Of course, I want my Aces to win. And then you have Atlanta versus the Fever. And I think Atlanta should take care of business at home, but who knows, man? This Fever team is crazy. So, yes, that is it. We will talk about um, the game threes that I just alluded to tomorrow on Friday. And then, yeah, so that's it. That's the video. A bit longer than I wanted it to be, but you guys like the WNBA content, so here you go. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my WNBA playlist if you want to catch up on my thoughts about the playoffs, the regular season, the awards, all that good stuff. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Cheers.